everyone, Pallytub here. Welcome back to Valheim. Hope you guys are doing well today. We are going to be gearing up to show you how to fight the first boss. We're back in the compound. I'm just grabbing a few supplies really fast. Then we're going to go somewhere where my frame rate can actually thrive. Okay, we're in leather gear. Nothing too fancy. I'm only going to be fighting the boss with what we would have in the game normally through progression, even though on our server we're a little past the first boss at this point, obviously. So I'm in leather armor. I have feathers, resin, flint, and I'm gonna grab a stack of wood from over here. This is gonna be for making all of our arrows, and I'll show you the various kinds you can make leading up to the boss fight. I got some basic food that I need to cook. Let me grab some more honey, and I have a wooden shield. So we're pretty okay. We're on the right track anyway. In our first episode, we actually went over how to find the first boss. In our guide for the beginning of Valheim, we went over this a little bit. All you have to do is interact with this rune stone next to the spawn location, and it'll actually just show you where the first boss is located. For us, it's to the north of our spawning location, and for you, it's probably going to be different, but just interact with the stone and then you're going to be able to find exactly where you need to go. All right, we're coming up on the house that I made. I saw this guide for making a Hobbit-inspired home, and I tweaked a few things about it, but more or less followed the guide for the structural portion of the build, and I thought it turned out really well. I also have a shack in my backyard. This is where I keep the honey. This is where I was doing my original crafting at. And let me take you guys inside. I have a nice workstation for all the crafts I need to do, located just to the left in here. And we're gonna prepare some gear to fight the first boss. First thing we're gonna do is get our food ready to go. I'm just cooking boar meat here, nothing too fancy at all. I'm also throwing some necktail on the fire as well. We're gonna have two types of meat and then also honey to fill our bellies while we're out there on the field. All right, all of that's done. 20 necktails, 18 pieces of meat that we've cooked. This comes from deer and boar. The necktail come from the lizards by the water, and honey, which we have been farming here for a while. You can find bees next to some abandoned villages, replant them at your house, and then reap the rewards of having fresh honey every single day. I'm also going to craft a club for myself to use. I'm trying to only use equipment that I would have early in the game. That's why we have nothing but leather armor on. That's why we're using basic food. But I also didn't want to use a weapon that I was super proficient in and just knock the crap out of the boss because I have a high skill. I think my club skill is only like 8. You could easily achieve that at the beginning of the game. How much is this bad boy to upgrade if we wanted to upgrade the club? Oh, I need bones. Okay, I don't have any of that. Next, we're going to focus on the bow. We have a crude bow in our inventory, and I just wanted to show you how easy it actually is to craft some good arrows. Now, it only takes 8 wood to craft the basic kind, and this will get the job done. This is enough, like it'll do it. But for just 2 more flint and 2 more feathers, you find flint by the water side, just pick up rocks near there, and feathers from birds that you can hunt with basic arrows. You can then craft flint head arrows, a whole stack of 20 for just 2 flint, 8 wood, and 2 feathers. If we compare the damage, it does 27 piercing damage to the 22 piercing damage of the regular arrows. So that's already a 5 damage upgrade for just a little bit of effort. But then you can also craft fire arrows. Instead of using flint, this is going to come from resin that you find from hunting those gray dwarves or from breaking down trees, along with the feathers from the birds as well. And with these, not only are you getting the piercing damage, you're also getting fire damage over time. So if you're thinking about using a bow on this fight, and you probably should be, it does not hurt to spend a little bit of extra time to really gear yourself out and make sure that your arrows are up to par for the first boss fight. And all of the gear to make the leather equipment comes from hunting deer. And you're going to want to hunt a lot of deer because in order to summon the boss, you're actually going to need deer trophies in order to make that happen. And what you know, there's a deer right here. Let's just pull back the arrow. Okay, it's been a while since I've shot the basic bow, okay? It's been a little... Come here, dude, come here! Oh, yeah, I see ya. You can't run from me forever. Anyway, when the deer die, you're very likely gonna get deer hide. Here's a trophy. You're also gonna be getting food to make. So you're probably already hunting deer for not only the hide, but the food. Make sure you hang on to those trophies. We planted a ton of pine trees up to the north in the meadows, and Holly built a house out here that just looks like a nice cottage in the middle of the woods now. All these trees were imported. I think it looks amazing. Anyway, I'm not here just to appreciate Holly's architecture. We're actually very, very close to the first boss spawn as well, just on the other side of this field. I've eaten my food, which has given me a maximum health of 100, which it's probably a little bit higher, but decreasing over time. As you can see, my stamina bar is pretty healthy with just basic food as well, so I feel pretty prepared to take on this boss. I think food is one of the most important things you can get ready for any type of difficult combat challenge in this game, just because it provides such a huge benefit. Just make sure that you don't let the buff fall off and that you continue to eat it. So, we have arrived. This is the mystical altar, and all we need to do is plant 2 of our deer head trophies onto the pedestal, and that's going to spawn Eikthyr for the first time. We have our bow drawn back at the ready for the first shot. This is a basic shot. It's dealing 75 damage on that initial hit because he was surprised. The second one deals significantly less. That is one of his 3 attacks. It's a long-range lightning bolt. And if you're worried about what Eikthyr can do to you, I highly recommend that you just craft one of these skills, walk right up into melee range, and figure out his moveset. As long as you have a lot of food in your system, your stamina bar is going to be fine. I was actually really surprised with how easy this boss was, all things considered, especially with a group. So if you're seeking out content like this to try to get better, you're already on the right path to have a super duper easy fight here. So if he gets out of melee range, he'll try to shoot you with some lightning. Let's see if we can make him do that again. Also, he's really, really good at breaking down trees. If you ever needed some help kind of clear cutting an area, this is all you got to do. Just bring the guy over here. He'll start swinging at trees, and it's no big deal. They'll just start to take damage, and you can sit behind your shield and block. Let's go ahead, re-equip the bow from earlier, and we can equip the fire arrows that we crafted earlier as well, just so you can see the kind of damage over time you can expect from a pickup like that. It does 2.5 damage a second, it looks like. And as you can see, even without the shield equipped and me being the only one here, it's pretty easy to avoid a lot of what this boss is trying to do. And of course, don't forget, you can always roll out of an attack with immunity frames and dodge attacks that way. You're in no way required to have a shield at all. And there goes our first tree. The funny thing about these trees is they can also fall on the boss as well, dealing impact damage if he's not careful when he's banging into these things. And let's go ahead and equip the flint arrowhead so you can see the amount of damage that they are doing. 30.7. Let's pull another one back. 30.3. I just wanted to give you an idea of how much damage you should be expecting with that little extra effort of crafting thrown in there if you decide that you want to use a bow. When you defeat him, you are going to gain access to Eikthyr's trophy, as well as these hardened antlers. And these antlers are so very important because this is what allows your character to start mining, gathering rocks, gathering copper, gathering tin to make more refined metals. This is the gateway to the future, and that's why it is so important to kill this boss. But that's all there is to it. This boss, not very intimidating. I believe in every single one of you to be able to take it down. With my friend group, while we were playing, we had 4 of these up at one time, 1 for each of us to fight, and it was still totally doable. So you don't be too overwhelmed with this. No big deal at all. After you defeat the boss, make sure you run back to the spawn for a very important permanent boon to your world. You know, I said you don't have to use the club. Blunt damage is probably one of the weakest damage to that guy. You probably want to use a bladed weapon, some kind of spear or axe, something to chop away at the flesh of Eikthyr while you're attacking it. I think that's one of the reasons that the arrows do so much damage, just because they're able to pierce the flesh of the enemy rather than just hitting that thick hide with a blunt object. Back at the starting location, you probably already saw it at the beginning of the video, but you are able to lay down the head of Eikthyr onto this rock, and then you are able to gain a boon. Eikthyrs boon, if you press, is it V? I hit X. Hold on, stand up, bud, stand up. F? It's F. If you hit F, this will give a buff to not only you, but everyone around you. And specifically what Eikthyr does is make it so while you're running, your stamina consumption is much, much, much lower. And this allows you to travel much greater distances, especially if you have a full belly with good food and a large stamina bar. It feels like you can sprint forever. If you're in a group of 4 people, each buff lasts 5 minutes and each buff will have a 20-minute cooldown. So if you stagger your buffs, you can actually keep everyone perma-buffed for forever, as long as you group up for each cast if you're running a long distance. So super duper good to have. Thank you guys so much for watching. It felt really weird to downgrade my character and go back to using leather equipment and a club and a basic shield, but I tried to make it as authentic as I could on a character that has done a lot of wood cutting. Walter cuts wood, yeah? That's gonna do it for today's video, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Next, we're gonna be taking a look at the Black Forest. But before we go, I mentioned the antlers were really valuable. Let me show you why. All it takes is a little wood and the antlers you picked up from the boss. These only take 1 antler per craft, which is insane to me. But you're gonna be able to make these antler pickaxes. Now, not only can you break rocks with these, but you can terraform the world as well, 1 swing at a time. There are upgrades to the antler pickaxe, but this is what allows you to go in and start getting tin and copper so you can begin your journey of getting even more advanced materials. So if you were starting in the game, you were wondering how to mine, this boss is going to be a top priority for you to kill and just get out of the way. And of course, you can kill that boss many, many times, get antlers each time, pass out these antler pickaxes to your friends, upgrade the ones that you have as well. No, you can't upgrade them. Never mind. I take that back. I take it back. But that's going to do it for today's video, everybody. Do hope you enjoyed it. I will see you again with more Valheim in the near future. Take care.